And we figured if we averaged 95 mile an hour, we could make it. One of my favorite rodeo stories that I look back on and remember was, it was over 20 years ago in 1999. We were rodeoing with Todd Soon, Randy Soon, and Jason Miller. And 4th of July's, Cowboy Christmas. There's a lot of stuff that goes down on Cowboy Christmas. There's a ton of rodeos, and you've got to have your stuff in order. And so you plan the rodeos, and you plan the flights, and everything's got to come down to the minute to make all the rodeos you can. So the story starts, we've been to a few rodeos, the story starts at Prescott, Arizona. And we finish Prescott, we run to the airport, we run down there and to Phoenix and try to get on a flight, and we missed it. So that's no problem. We got another flight booked, or there's another flight after that, and we got on their standby. Well, there's like 50 people on standby. So we waited around, and finally we didn't get on that flight, and because we was up at St. Paul, Oregon at 7 a.m. slack. For years, it was always 7 a.m. And I mean, they started at 6:59. You got to be there. So we missed the flight, and we're like, oh, heck, that's no big deal. We had a really good travel agent, old Sharon, out of Hermiston, Oregon. And so we called Sharon and said, hey, find us a flight down there up there to St. Paul. And so we just ease around there, we go to Denny's and kind of like we got all day, and it was in the afternoon. And so we kind of got our fill at Denny's, and we sitting around Denny's, and we started putting 2 and 2 together and adding 12 and carrying 5. And we're like, man, we could make it. So we went and got us a rental car, and we figured, initially we thought we could haul butt to Vegas and get on a flight there that puts us in there, Portland, early in the morning, and we still make St. Paul. And our rig was somewhere, so I can't remember where it was at. But, we couldn't get a flight out of Vegas, so we're like, well, we'll just get a rental car and we'll just drive it. So we figured, with our intelligent bulldogger, and this is 20 years ago, and so this is the behavior that nobody should do, but this is back when we thought we couldn't miss a rodeo, and so we get this rental car. We named it Cisco. It was like a Chrysler Pacifica, like an SUV cross minivan. And we jump in there, and we figured if we averaged 95 mile an hour, we could make it. And we're in Arizona, and St. Paul's in Oregon. And but we have to average, that's getting fuel, 95 miles an hour. So old Rude Dog, old Randy Soon, he's he's game for anything. I love rodeo with that guy. And Todd, he's a mathematician, thought we could do it. And Miller's game for anything. So we jump in old Cisco, and we commence to trucking. And we drive 118 mile an hour, 119, the minivan governs out and goes back down to 95. And so we lay on it, and we're driving, we're taking shifts. And we get to Nevada, and then we take the Alien Highway, and 118 mile an hour all night. I would wake up in the middle of the night that night, and Miller's driving, and it gets pretty animated in the rental van, and everybody's cussing and screaming, and I see up there on the minivan's kind of interior that there's red and blue lights. Well, Miller getting pulled over, but he don't want to pull over until we got to get gas, or we're going to lose time. And so this cop chases us for 18 miles. The cop is mad when we get there. We get pulled over. We're like, he comes up to Miller. Miller jumps out, and Miller gets right in his face, like, "What are you slowing us up for?" And one of us jump in there and fill up fuel, and he said, "You passed." I guess the cop, we passed him on a double yellow light and smoked him. Well, we got another ticket that night too. And so all I remember is, like, I talked to Rude Dog, Randy Soon, last night trying to recall the story, and he said, and I remember them laughing about us, but because we were so tired, and over the 4th of July, you're just running, and you might wear the same clothes for 4 days. You know, you don't have time to shower, you're just hitting rodeos and trying to win all you can. And so in the back of the minivan, there was 2 up front and 2 in the back. In the back of the minivan, we'd seat belt in, and we just pass out and just fall asleep. And Rude was driving through some mountains there coming into Oregon, and just 118 mile an hour. And so he said he'd look back there and he'd see Miller and I when he'd take a corner, and we'd just fall together. And then the next corner, we just hit the window and just wouldn't wake up, just passed out, just tired, you know, rodeoing. And so I don't remember, it started getting light, and we started getting on I-5, and we had a shot at making it. And of course, when it gets light, everybody starts getting back on the roads. And one of the deals, when we're rodeoing, we always call it the cowboy lane. Well, we get on I-5 and everybody's kind of going to work, and interstate's filling up, and 2-lane traffic, and so the cowboy lane's open, and that's on the right-hand side, and you just go. And so I don't remember who was driving then. It might have been Rude Dog. And Todd was hanging out the window, had his head out the window to make sure he could take the cowboy lane. So we was just smoking by people that was like they was going the other way. And Todd would be, okay, it's good. So he'd just, you know, they'd just take off in the right lane, and the cowboy lane just haul butt. Okay, get back. And so he'd stop and get back in, you know, okay, you're good. And then duck out. Well, we pulled up to St. Paul, sliding sideways, and popped those doors open, never shut them, and run to the arena. And old Tony Curran, he's one of my rodeo heroes. He had old Sheila, a good little sorrel mare that everybody won on. And I was first out in slack. And we called him, had it all set up, you know, and so I jumped over the fence and run my steer and jumped on, like right with the third call my name, you know, they jumped on, and I was like, I'm here, I'm going to run across the arena, and just out of breath, and broke the barriers 4-1 to win St. Paul, you know, and I don't think the other guys did any good either. So we jumped back in this rental van, and we're going to Cody. You know, we had to go to Livingston, Red Lodge, Cody, and so we jumped back. Old Dean Finnerty jumps in with us, and we jump back in, and we're trying to go the speed limit, and it feels like we're pouring concrete. After driving 118 for, I don't know, it was 15 hours. If you look up on Google Maps, it's like 21 hours to go from Phoenix to Oregon, and we did it in 15. It's not advisable. They're not advisable. So we jump in, and we're taking this car. We'll call it Cisco, and we're taking this car on down to Livingston Red Lodge, and we go compete there, and then our rig, Soon's Rigs was in Cody, Wyoming. So slack was that morning early, and so after slack we had to go get some feed for the horses. So we take the rental car named Cisco, and we take it to, or no, I think Rude Dog got up early and went to the feed store, and no, he was all there. And anyway, when he pulls up the feed store, he hits the curb and the tire blows. And then we still had to take this, we had it all planned out to the second, you know, we couldn't waste any time. We blow the tire on this. Well, remind you that this car was only supposed to be rented for a day and go back to Phoenix. And this is our 3rd day having this car. And now we don't have a tire. And it's Sunday, there's no tire shops open, and we're gonna miss some rodeos, and we don't miss rodeos. So we start cruising around the tire stores and looking around in the back alley. I think Rude was the one that noticed it. We found the exact same match. Exact, perfect. So we grabbed that tire, put some money underneath the door, and it was a used tire, but like, what's the odds of finding the exact same, like the rental car company's not even gonna know. And we find this old farmer that could put it on there for us, and so we put that on the car. And then we go to a few more rodeos, and we end up down there in West Jordan, and and then we was going to go to take the rig to Calgary. So we're at West Jordan, we got Cisco, and we got the rig. And so we didn't know what we could do with Cisco, because we didn't have time to take it back to Phoenix. So one of us, I don't want to implicate any of us, we call the rental car place and said, hey, your car broke down, and you need to come, you know, we need another car, or, you know. Oh, we just called them and said, your car broke down. Oh, we're sorry, we'll come replace it. You just tell us the street you're at, we'll come get you a new car. Well, we're in Utah, and so they said, well, don't worry about it. We'll figure it all out, you know. And so we all had to take our hat off, and one of us had the idea, if you just take a hanger and bend it and just short out the starter fuse, and then it won't start. And that's kind of goes with our alibi. So when we did that, we all took our hat off and tipped it to that car. So in 3 days, we put like 4,600, 5,000 miles on that car. But that's rodeo on the 4th of July. Just anything goes, and you're just trying to make it. But that was one of my favorite memories, rodeoing back 20 years ago.